Hello, I'm Kelly Dwyer, founder of Nature Education Opportunities. July's slower pace with many schools out, summer vacations are booked, and the warmer weather is here more often, really are conducive to outside activities and easier to plug them into our schedules. Throughout the year, nature provides lots of opportunities for sketching, but there is something special about the lighting and just the pace of July, which makes it all the easier to do. So find a cool spot in the shade to sketch ferns or just different types of green leaves that you see, or really look for an open vista where you can observe a sunset or even a sunrise if you're really that ambitious with this project. And that does inspire the artists in all of us. If you or your kids are new to sketching, it can seem intimidating to be staring at a beautiful scene or an element in nature and then try to figure out how to get that image from your mind's eye onto a blank piece of the sketch pad. Well, that's the key, is to simply start. Focus on the colors and shapes of an item. It may be easier to begin with a single item of nature and let your pencil or your paintbrush just start making some gentle wispy strokes across the paper, letting your eyes drift very gently back and forth, relaxed between the element and your sketch pad. I find it's very helpful to take a few just deep, relaxing breaths as I sketch to kind of loosen up my shoulders and keep my imagination flowing. I also find that it's helpful to smile, because that tells our mind that we're doing something enjoyable and fun. So kind of smile and deep breathing is the key to sketching. And also try to silence your inner critic and instead encourage your creative self. This is your drawing. This is your time to really engage with nature through a different modality. I love to have a big jug of colored pencils all sharpened up ready so that my tools are right there for me as I observe different colors and shapes. And then it's important for us as adults to share and model these techniques with our kids so that we're freeing up their self-critic and they're letting their imagination just really run with this and have fun. So one thing that I like to do is to start sketching, like I mentioned, a general outline of a scene or an item, and then go back in and fill in the details. So for example, if I was sketching this piece of fern, I would start with just the main vein of the fern, and then I would add in little wispy fronds off to the side of it, and then maybe go back in and just add some little circular motions on the different sides so that I'm kind of completing that image. And using green is really easy this time of year because we can use all of the different shades of green. I find it definitely that sketching those stationary items is an easier way to start before we try to tackle the moving things like insects or even birds. One thing that's helpful too is to put a yarn loop on the ground. You can even have a bigger one or double it up so that it's focusing the eye on just a certain area to observe the details and then commit that to the sketch pad, the paper. I also really enjoy cutting out and making little sort of picture frames, again, to focus the mind's eye. You can cut these from cereal or cracker boxes and pin them onto a tree or a rock wall or just any place in nature that you find is really interesting. Having that frame keeps your mind and your eyes centered on just what's inside the frame. I have all different sizes that I like to use. And this one, for example, you could put on a tree, or you could even put it right directly on the ground, so that, similar to the yarn loop, you're just focusing on one particular area so it's not as overwhelming. Some elements that might be fun to think about sketching in July are ferns or plants, or highlighting them, as I mentioned, with shades of green. Lots of different blooms this time of year. I just love the colors on this particular bloom. So it's in relatively easy shape to sketch, and then filling it in with colored pencils or watercolors. Of course, my favorite thing, as many of you probably already know if you've heard me before, are rocks with different lichens and moss. So again, those shades of green are really easy to detail and capture that image. Logs in the woods are interesting because you, again, have a lot of different greens and elements on top, and you can try to get the shape of the log, project that round section. That might be a little bit more of a, advanced, a second time out. Watercolor paints work really well for sketching clouds and sunsets, so you can lie back on a blanket and take the image of the clouds in your mind and then try to sketch it with watercolors on a sketch pad. Remember, this is a great way to connect with nature outside and just enjoy all of the things that are going on. It's great in all seasons. However, this time in summer is probably the easiest weather-wise and comfort-wise to be outside. And don't forget too, this is your art project, and instill that in your kids. It's their art project, their creation. It's important to have fun with this activity and to honor the artist in you. So get out there and have fun, and you'll never know what you'll create.